All right, it's Thursday night, time for our Las Vegas Triathlon Club member spotlight, and we have our most recent club champion,
Mhm.
Franziska Fitz, joining us. Hi, Franziska, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Oh,
Thanks for
doing good. This is great to have you on because I am really interested in your triathlon journey, and I know we've talked a little bit, but this is going to be a lot of fun to hear more about the details of what got you into triathlon and where you're headed, and some of your training tricks as well. So
yeah,
this will be a lot
excited.
of fun.
Yeah, excited to share my story for sure.
Awesome. Well, I've got Bob Gambo, co-host. Hey, Bob, how's it going?
It's doing fine, thank you.
Awesome.
Well,
Well, I am going to go ahead and turn the microphone and camera over to you for the official introduction.
all right, thank you, John, and welcome, Franziska. It was really a pleasure meeting you on Sunday. And congratulations on your win. I mean,
Thank you.
you're not supposed to do that. You're brand new to the club. Just started triathlon, and you come and you crush the field. So
Oh, thank you.
congratulations, but I got to call you out on it.
Yes, thank
You're supposed to
you.
be a rookie.
Supposed to.
So, and just so for everybody who's listening, Franziska, yes, you won, Sunday's triathlon. Did her first triathlon last year, and it was an Olympic in
In
San
San Diego.
Diego in the
Yeah.
ocean. So that's
Yeah.
another huge accomplishment. And Franziska has qualified for Boston. So there's not a whole lot of people that are going to be running her down in the run. So this is good. She's got a lot of skills under her belt already. And Franziska is a veterinary neurologist, and we're going to get into. She's going to tell us what a veterinary, neurologist does and does. So, but first, Franziska, welcome. Thank you so much for being on. We appreciate it. And what brought you to Las Vegas?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to share my story tonight. So yeah, I'm a veterinary neurologist. So it means after vet school, so you become a veterinarian, and then I specialized in neurology. So that's 5 years after vet school that you spend kind
Wow.
of specializing in the field of neurology. So I treat dogs and cats with brain and spinal cord disorders.
Hmm.
And yeah, so pretty narrowed down, and that's what I do every day. And so that's also how I came to Las Vegas. Actually was my career or my job. Work for the specialty center here in town. Yeah, so I was in South Florida for the 7 years prior. So this is where I did my post vet school training, and I became a neurologist and worked a little bit longer over there as an associate, and then I came over here to join a multi-specialty practice. So that's how I
and I noticed your dogs in the picture of they're just the brightest, happiest dogs I've seen in a long time. And those are your running partners. Tell us about your running partners. And
they are, yeah. So those are both Belgian Malinois. So they're like super high strung dogs, and
I see that.
Yeah, they're my running buddies. Like literally every day before work in the morning, you have an alarm clock at 5, and then the party gets started. Go for a run, and then and I'm off to work. They obviously stay at home, but they're the best every day. They will never let me down. They just come with me along on my runs.
You don't need an alarm clock, do you?
No,
They wake.
they wake
They
me.
wake you up.
They're 5 o'clock sharp. They're like, let's go.
Time for the run.
I know this spotlight is about you, but what are the dogs' names?
So the smaller one, the darker one, she's the female. Her name is Rita. And the bigger one, he's the boy, and his name is Rogue.
Love it.
Rita and Rogue. Yeah.
Rogue?
Rogue. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing is your first try was in San Diego. It was an Olympic distance. That was a pretty big leap for your very first one. What made you want to do a triathlon, and what made you want to do that one to start with? Why did you get into triathlon?
Yeah. So I was always a runner my entire adult life. I ran, and actually quite a few years ago, I was still in Florida. I decided I need to do a triathlon once in my life, kind of figure it out and get it like a bucket list item when I once do a triathlon. And then when I started to get into it, I actually really, really enjoyed the different training aspects, enjoyed doing the different modalities. And I realized how actually much more fun it is to come out of the water, hop on a bike and start. So in a way
opposed
much
to
more
running every day.
entertaining, yeah, than running. But I had actually my very first like try for it was a negative experience was in Las Vegas on Lake Mead. So a year and a half ago, I figured, okay, I can do it in the pool, and I have this like the stamina for the run and the bike. So I just cold turkey went for open water swim, and I got the harsh realization that open water swim is not equal pool swim. So I had a DNF on the swim, and that kind of doesn't sit well with me. I can't not complete what I have in my game plan. So I need to do it. If I plan for it, I need to accomplish it. So I cranked down on open water swim training and get more and more confident. And then that San Diego triathlon popped up one day in my email inbox, like as like a commercial. And I figured, yeah, why not? Just gonna try it out. And then this is also how I found the Las Vegas Triathlon Club, and those sprint races as like are excellent training races. They so perfectly like help you dial down the transitions and like just get in the rhythm of things. And ever since then, I was really hooked. Like I can't.
And for the record, I want everyone to know that we didn't pay you to say that. But yes, thank you for acknowledging the fact that those races are they're great training.
They're great.
Races.
Yeah. Because they are like the real deal, so it's just the real racing experience. Yeah.
And big ups to you for getting thrown off the horse and then climbing right back on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were in the water, and I don't know many people, if any people, who have done a first open water swim and not have some sort of issues. So you actually stuck with it and tackled it. So congratulations on that as well.
Yeah, I thank you. Yeah, it's a nice learning experience, humbling experience.
I like that you said it was a learning experience instead of a mistake or a failure.
Yeah.
It's not. It was a learning experience. Very good.
Correct. Yeah.
And I don't know that I mentioned this in the introduction, but everybody, Franziska has qualified for Boston, so she is a very fast runner too. So and you does the swimming and the biking help you running?
Absolutely. Yeah. In the past, it was a lot for me to make the effort to go to the gym for cross training, because to kind of if you just run, you have to have like your counter. But now training for triathlons, it kind of comes just with it, So like
it's part of the program.
Part of the program is you already do the cross training anyways, in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, John probably has some questions about your specific Olympic, specific triathlons.
I want to back up just a bit here. So you did San Diego International Triathlon as your first race.
Yeah. And
then you did the Las Vegas Triathlon.
Yeah.
And that was the one where you ran into some challenges in the swim. Is that right?
No, opposite. Yeah. So I did the Las Vegas Olympic Triathlon in October.
Yeah.
This were the challenges, and the following year in May. So then I did the San Diego one.
Okay. And then
after that, I actually joined the club.
Yeah.
And then joined the sprint races.
Oh wow. Okay, that's really like Bob was saying. That's sort of like a roller coaster. That's pretty neat. So let's talk about the San Diego Triathlon. I mean, that's a pretty neat event where it's actually an ocean water swim, which is not always easy for people. But you did the ocean water swim, okay?
Yeah, and that was such a confident booster that I could do it. It's, I don't know, for me, coming out of the water and I've completed my swim just gives me so much more energy for the rest of the race, because it's not the most difficult part.
Yeah, that's great. And so maybe we back up a little bit further. How did you change your training from being a runner to starting to prepare for a triathlon? How much swimming did you do? And did you do mostly just pool swimming at that point, or?
Yeah, so I try definitely. So unfortunately, I still run more than I swim. Just it's more, in a way, also easier for me to like get my runs in. I just gotta have my runs, for my personal well-being. But I try to swim at least twice a week, quite a bit in the pool, because also it's convenient. But we are cranking down more on open water swim, because also you have like a bigger community for like budding up, So like I go along with my husband to the down to Lake Mead, or with Vanessa, we are meeting up for swims, or the swim clinics, you know. So like there's such a big, nice community that you can create, and then as a group swim also, it's much more fun. And like this, you get your open water swims in, and with every single swim, you get a little bit more confident and gets more like.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Bob.
Now, whenever you do your swims, do you do bricks? Do you run immediately after the swim, or bike after the swim?
Yeah.
And how did you learn to do that? You know, what prompted you to start doing bricks?
Actually,
curiosity.
Yeah, actually Googling on how to get better in triathlon. So like researching, you come across like different articles or other people giving tips on Facebook groups. So like lots of like kind of teach yourself ideas, and or like talking with other friends that have done triathlon. So one of my colleagues at work, he's a triathloner or Ironman competitor, and he gives good tips, you know, like, or change the bag on your bike, or like, you know, small tips. So like just by talking with other people and by a little bit reading about it, you figure what you need to do. But the brick training in the beginning was super intense, and it gets the same. It gets easier with how often you do it. You know, your legs somehow start getting used to hopping on the bike, and or like coming off the bike, start running. You know, and the first few times you feel like super discombobulated.
You beat me to the question, and that's what I was going to ask you. You know, you are a good runner, but still, when you come off the bike for the first time, you start running, your legs aren't there.
Yeah, the legs aren't there. Yeah, so it's different muscle groups, which also is interesting to learn, that you can have one modality down so well, but it can change so much when you link it to something else. Yeah, and it's muscle memory, you know, so that you have to train your body to.
Yeah, that's really that's cool that you figured that out. A lot of people think, oh, I can run, I can swim, and I can bike, but it's different than when you put all three of them together.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a training plan or a coach that you follow?
Not really. So when I trained for the qualifier, for the Boston qualifier a couple months ago, I did have the training plan, which kind of is nice to guide me a little bit in that way. So I do follow like online training plans in a way a little bit. I always find that I do have to do a little modification. Sometimes it just doesn't feel right now to do what was suggested. So I modify the week a little bit. However, it feels a little bit better to me. But I do. Wow. Yeah. So I don't
you listen to your body.
Yeah. And exactly. So I don't have like a specific trainer that tells me every day what to do, but like I read about how many times a week you should, and then I try to incorporate it in what time can I make free between my work schedule, and on what days of the week do I have more time. So I modified how it fits in, but it's very good. Yeah.
That's great. Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, you clearly had the fitness coming into triathlon, and you started to do the other workouts and the swim and the bike. Well, what did you do for equipment initially? How, you know, you didn't have the equipment going into triathlon. So what did you do your first race with?
Yeah, actually, I had a Trek dual sport bike, like something really simple. Just it had like, you know, 2 wheels and a handlebar. Oh. And then I pedaled as hard as I could. And then you realize, okay, like if you actually want to be part of the top crowd, you gotta like, just working really hard is not going to get you there. So this is how I ended. And then you start doing your research, like triathlon bike versus road bike, and like what seems better to you. And so I did end up with a road bike, like a Canyon Aero Rod. And I don't know, I really enjoy that bike, even though I get a little bit of feedback that I should probably invest in a triathlon bike to like get a little bit faster. So I need to, maybe this is my next step, you know.
Franziska, have you embraced the love of the equipment, and as far as like there's a hobby in setting your bike up and getting the right shoes?
Oh, for sure, exactly. And then there's more and more you can get, like the perfect little bag to pack your you know, transition area, and like there's more and more you can get in. Like it's not just in the helmet and the sunglasses, then it's like, you know, the Ruka equipment, and it's like there's always a little bit more. It's fun because it's an endless game. Like you never
Mhm.
get bored doing that.
It sounds like you realize, like you're at the point where the more you know, the more you realize you can learn
Yeah, exactly.
about your equipment. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fun.
and that's also why it hooked me up so much. Like running is gives me my inner zen kind of, but triathlon is like a hobby, like it's an actual, like it actually
Oh, I
embraces
know
your mind.
exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I love this, and boy, what a great background of getting into the sport, having a little bit of challenge with the swim, doing an entry level bike, and now you're being very competitive, and so this is really neat to see that sort of journey go forward. What are you looking for in terms of the rest of this year? What's on your
Yeah.
schedule?
I'm doing my first 70.3. That's like very exciting for me. I truly hope that I'm prepared for it, because I've experienced in the past that you think you're prepared and then you aren't. So, but I hope I learned enough that I can definitely, like, finishing has to be, there's no question.
Mm-hmm.
And
are you doing
in Oregon?
You're doing Oregon?
I'm doing Oregon, yeah, in 4 weeks, and or like 4.5 weeks. And I will give everything there is in my body to give, because if I would qualify for the World Championship, I think I would have reached like a huge major goal. And if not, then I will try again the next time around, until I hit my goal.
Yeah.
And do it.
How are you training differently for the 70.3 as opposed to the sprints and the Olympics?
Yeah, so I try to increase time. So time on the bike, time on the run, like hours per week in training, just to like increase my body to get used to like not just the 2 hour you spend training, but actually go for longer. And then what I learned for training for marathons, what I always need to change when I actually go for a marathon, is to learn to your nutrition during the exercise. So that's huge for me, because I usually don't take nutrition on regular day-to-day exercise. So when I go for my 8 miles in the morning before work, like I don't take nutrition with me for those runs. I just run them and then come home, shower, off to work. Mm-hmm. But when you need to take nutrition, like of whatever sorts, I think your body needs to get used to, because it's like on this shock moment of like, okay, why is she feeding me while we still have a heart rate of 60? So that's really important for me to like get my body, my GI tract ready for.
Yeah.
This is so great that you've figured that out, and so early in your career too.
Yeah, it's.
And now when you're doing your long bikes and swims and runs, how have you adjusted your pace? Just curious.
Yeah, so the pace definitely slows down the longer. I start much slower off. So like what I did on the sprint race last Sunday, I started much faster than I would ever do it, on a longer distance. But when you know that you only got a bike for like 12.5 miles, you can push. And so I have obviously a heart rate monitor, and it alerts that climbing that mountain up there, like it's a brutal climb the first 6 miles. Yeah. Coming out of the water, and sprint up there, and then your heart rate goes to 170. I just push through it because I know it's such a short distance. So I start off much slower because I know I need to like pace my energy. So try to reach like a lower heart rate, like linger in the 130, 140, so I don't drain myself too much. And in the end, it's a lot of mind game, like the same in marathons, so like I don't think I've met a person that didn't admit to hit a wall at mile 18. It's just starting at that point is your mind that needs to tell yourself that you have to continue. And I think it's the same in like those longer triathlons. Like you don't count anymore. It's 8 more miles. Like it's another quarter mile until you hit the next tree, and then another quarter mile until so like you play with your like you fool yourself that how to finish.
This is great. I believe you are going to do fine in Oregon.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And Bob, I think I'm picking up the same thing you are. We're talking with a runner who's converted to triathlon, and that running mentality is really sort of paying off for you. And so even doing our little sprint race, you still have that strategy in terms of how to complete that course as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's exactly, it's about strategy. Like just, yeah. When you see the whole mountain, you will never be able to complete it. Like you gotta take it in little bites.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and it's always surprising that your body can do much more than you think you were capable of doing.
So, well, speaking of that, I'm curious is what drew you to do the 70.3 in the first place? Well, why sign up for that? I mean, you're having some good success at the sprint and Olympic. What's drawing you towards the longer event?
I think that taking it, like challenging myself, seeing if I can take it to the next level. Yeah, yeah.
I love
And
that.
I don't want to just throw out, unsolicited advice, but you're going to do fine in your 70.3. It's a different experience. So, give yourself some room to learn. You know how you have your learning experiences so far, and you've learned really well from all of them. So just, I think you're going to do fine. You're going to do really good at Oregon. I can't wait. Can't wait to see it.
Oh my God, yeah. Hopefully, me too. We already got our race prep email. So I think those moments are super exciting. They already gave us like the timing for the weekend, and obviously the course is all available and when to drop the bike. And so now we're getting all ready. I think the excitement is already coming.
Yeah, very good. Are you going to use your tri bike?
No, I don't have a tri bike. I need to use my road bike, like the Canyon Air Rod.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You got a good climb on that course, and that road bike will help there.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Oh, I
Very
love
good.
it. So when you're on the start line of your first race, what do you think you're going to be thinking differently when you're on the start line for the 70.3? So what was going through your mind on your first race?
Mm-hmm. So on my first race, I was too nervous, and I already pre-panicked maybe a little bit that maybe I got myself into something I couldn't. And that's kind of very important. Before every single swim, I take like a few minutes really just to be very, very calm. And then when I start the swim off like extremely calm and like already starting my breathing, so I breathe every third stroke. So I already started breathing pattern before I even get in the water, and somehow this eases me in. And then once I'm in the water, like the first like 200 yards in, then it starts to become just a routine, and then you just gotta enjoy it. Like, and don't think about, oh my God, I'm only 500 yards in, I have 15 more to do. So like just 500 yards at a time, and just take the swim really, really slow. I think once I have the swim done, the rest is just going to be fun for me. I love biking and running. We'll get through the swim.
I wish that, or my wish is that everybody who is brand new to the sport, he listens to this, because you've got so much wisdom. And the fact that you're going to start off slow in the swim, and you're going to do great. You do realize that Oregon is a downriver swim, right?
Correct. This was one of the actually major reason why I chose Oregon as my first one.
It's very fast.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess with time, don't have to like fight big waves, which I don't think would. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So now, when you're on the bike, like you said, you just enjoy biking. What are you doing to prepare for the 56-mile length event versus even the Olympic or a sprint?
Good question.
Yeah. So definitely want to manage to, like on that bike, on the 56, to really get as much nutrition in as possible. So when I now go for like long bike rides like that, I can tell that when I didn't drink enough, or even when I didn't get enough sugar or salts in, that I come back home and I'm actually drained for a little bit. But I try to then make an effort of like just give enough, like an hour to rest, and then do a little bit more exercise just to
good.
Like teach my body, like don't just quit like that.
I love it. I mean, you're certainly approaching this very systematically, and I'm given your job, I'm not surprised in your education training, but that's very systematic in terms of thinking about all those little things. It's not just a swim and a bike and then a run. It's everything integrated. So that's really brilliant.
Yeah. I see like definitely a similarity to doing a surgery. Like you don't just do that part like in a dog that has a slip disc, you don't just repair the disc, it's the whole story. Like get a dog asleep, you know, like from skin cut to closure, you have to have a pre-plan because otherwise it's not gonna work out. So I think I'm just gonna translate that, you know, so like I have a plan from start to finish, and then hopefully this works out like that.
I love it. So when you're in a race and you're in race mode and you're at some point in the bike, you start thinking about the run. When do you start thinking about the run and preparing your mind for the run segment?
Oh, that's a very good question. Actually, so far I never really thought of that. I always thought, okay, I arrived at the run, I'm fine now. Like,
I love it.
I wonder though if maybe this will feel different, because so when I go for like half marathons, which obviously that's the distance, I more see that as like a training run or like this. So obviously without the swim in the bike. So when I go for half marathons, and this is like convenient because I get my long run in a group in a way. So I hope I will feel similar coming off, you know, doing everything before. So hopefully this works out like that.
If you treat it, I love it the way you do the swim and start off slow and easy and smooth, and then you know on the bike. So you're gonna apply the same on the swim on the run. Start off a little easy.
Start off a little easy, yeah. Like, and also if you start off a little bit too quick, you too quickly get like cramps and things. Like, I think that's actually why also the course on Lake Mead is nice to teach yourself that, because when you come off the bike, like you have that nice downhill on the bike, your heart rate comes down, you quickly change in your running shoes, and then you need to chase up that hill. Like that's really intense. So you get automatically slow. Like you gotta learn how to like start off the run a little slower. So hopefully, like, yeah, need to do the same thing in Oregon.
You're going to be teaching clinics on how to how to do a triathlon soon.
Oh yeah. If I manage to get qualified after Oregon,
Fingers crossed. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. But I'm going to steal one of Bob's questions that he usually likes to ask. What has been the biggest thing that you've learned from starting training for triathlon and competing?
Well, this is a very good question. Yeah. So I think number one is the respect for open water.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. There's a huge difference between open water and pool, and also opposite, honestly, like now since I have a bigger support group to do open water swim, so I don't like to swim in open water by myself. It's like usually,
and that's a good fear. You could be with someone else when you're in open water.
Yeah. So like now I think it's much more fun to swim open water than pool, to be honest. So for the pool, I only go to swim because I know I should, and that's good for my training, and that's the way you get faster, you get technique in and things. But I actually don't enjoy the pool, but the open water became actually fun because you have a goal to reach. Like it's like running on a treadmill versus running outside. So similar feeling for me. Like in open water, it's easier for me to get the bigger distances in now because I can go to the next buoy instead of like going back and forth 100 times in a pool.
Yeah. That's a good analogy too. The fact that it is like in, versus being on a treadmill. It's like you're out in nature, like a trail.
Yeah. And
you've given me quite a few little nuggets of wisdom here. I appreciate that.
Perfect.
No, this is great. No, okay. The one question that we missed earlier that I want to ask: what's the longest run that you take the dogs on?
They have so far done 11 miles was their longest.
Oh,
yeah, yeah, and they're super fit. They keep going. We come home, they nap for like half an hour, and then the little one, she already brings me the ball that I need to keep throwing the ball for her. They're like energy without end. They're good motivators though, because there are definitely mornings where your alarm goes off and you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna go for a run. But then you have the dogs already bouncing around.
Yeah.
I go for a run for them, you don't want to disappoint them.
Right,
and,
right.
Then you feel much greater. Like I love it when after I ran, the days like it's a different story if I ran in the morning or not. So thanks to them, sometimes they push me to go for a run, and they're just today.
Oh,
That's
training
great.
partners. It's like, yeah, you
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, yeah. Like you have a commitment in a way. It's like when you meet up with a friend, you don't want to not show up.
Yeah,
So dogs, they hold me accountable.
they are
One thing
unfazed.
that I really, one thing that I really was impressed with in your picture of your dogs, Rita was standing with such an enthusiastic look on her face. It's
Mhm.
like she said, I'm going running. I'm going running.
I'm going running. Yeah, she's ready. Yeah, and so when I trail run once a week. I actually really enjoy trail running. More so than on the street. It's just easier on the street because you quickly from home to home, like you run
Yeah,
around. But trail running, they actually do really well off leash, and they have such a blast. Like
Yeah.
this is their world. They can run around there, and they're really good dogs. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're getting them down to the lake and do some swimming with them too.
Yes, they need to. Yeah, this would be perfect for them. Yeah.
Franziska, this has been really great to get to know you better and hear more about your story. I am so impressed because I remember seeing you at one of our first events, and I'm like, oh, there's a fast person, and I didn't know that you were just entering the sport at that point. So this is really neat to see you go from even some challenges in the swim to where you're now highly competitive, and I am really going to look forward to tracking you at Oregon 70.3. I think that's going to be a lot of fun for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
It's actually nice to have such a good support group. Like the club is definitely.
I think half the club is doing Oregon, so
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a huge crowd that goes out there,
yeah,
and everyone on even just on the Facebook page, everyone like turned into one little family. I love that. Yeah,
that's
good.
great.
I was talking with one of the other people who are going up to Oregon, and she wants to post on Facebook when we are all going to arrive so that we can check in together and get racked together. So
Yeah.
would you be interested in that?
Yeah, absolutely. How fun would that be? Yes.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We
Yeah.
will do that. What time, what day are you arriving?
I'm arriving Friday night because I'm
Friday
flying
night.
in.
Okay.
Friday night. So like obviously on time for Saturday morning, get the
Yeah.
briefing and rack the bikes and
Mhm.
yeah, we should.
And the Saturday morning check-in.
Yeah, correct. Saturday morning check-in and package pickup.
Awesome. Franziska, thank you so much for doing this. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. I loved it. It was really fun.
Yeah.
All right.
It was
great.
fun. Not only was it fun, but it was quite educational too. And if anybody who watches this is going to benefit from it.
Perfect.
Great.
Love that.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.